Magandang hapon po sa mga bossing po ng Ayala Foundation, NCCA, NHCP at Chooks to Go. Meow meow. Lahat din po sa inyong mga kabataan na nandito ngayon kasi itong aking presentation po talaga ay para sa inyo. I am so lucky and I feel this distinct honor to stand here before you to talk about something I am very passionate about. On social media, I talk about history and genealogy. Pero share ko lang, wala akong alam sa history. Like, oh? Gulat kayo. No, I say this because history is vast. As in, tataas ang kilay ko when somebody tells me na alam nila lahat about history. Because that's just impossible. There's no one on the planet who can say they know everything about history. I say this because I want to advocate that we should all come to this humble saying that we don't know anything and we should always be students of history kahit wala na po tayo sa eskwela, di ba? And I say this because the study of history, when you are not forced to do it, is one of the purest joys of all. Totoo yun. Now, we study history by learning facts. Diba? That's what we do in school. We learn facts. These are these immovable things that facilitate knowledge. Yun, alam natin, may facts. Pero we also study history by reading about opinions, perspectives, testimonies. These put facts into context, into the right context. And this inspires, among many things, understanding, pwedeng justice, pwedeng compassion. We study history also by finding the significance of the past to the present, and these help us create connections. In my line of work, in what I do as a genealogist, many people want that. They want to understand who their ancestors are. And it is when they understand where they came from that history becomes alive. Na, okay, ito palang ginagawa ng ninuno ko nung panahon ng Hapon. So I have a better understanding for that period through their eyes. So that connection can be made to, like, with a family, a clan, the notion of community, the notion of a nation, and humanity itself. And we study history so that the learnings of the past can guide us towards the future. Ang dami ko nang sinabi, di ba? Parang, ano ba yung point ko? My point is, we can use this as a take-off point because history is not just about studying facts. In fact, it is facts first, but not facts only. We can explore the meaning and significance of the Philippine National Anthem, which was created more than 100 years ago, by having this mindset that there are many ways to appreciate history, not just through one method. O yun, sige, game na yon. Yun na yung aking setup, right? So let's meet Julian Felipe. Yan, si kumparing Julian. He was the man commissioned to write the Marcha Nacional Filipina. And Julian was born in what is now known as Cavite City in 1861. So this is the same year that Jose Rizal was born. So kung batch niya si Jose Rizal, I think he was 4 or 5 months older than Jose Rizal. Julian Felipe was already a multi-awarded composer, musician, pianist, school music teacher when in 1896, Julian joined his fellow Caviteños in the Philippine Revolution. He was 35 years old when he was arrested together with the 13 Martires de Cavite. Alam mo, hindi ko alam na kasama pala siya dun sa batch na yun. But unlike the rest, he was found innocent And he was released 9 months after the execution of his fellow Caviteños. So may hugot din si kumparing Julian. We will learn more about and hear more about the Marcha Nacional Filipina later this afternoon. So next, let's meet this guy, si Jose Palma. He was the poet behind Filipinas, a Spanish poem that was the basis for the lyrics to the Philippine National Anthem and all its later translations. I will dive a little bit more into Jose Palma because unlike Julian Felipe, he was a young man when he penned the iconic piece of literature. And I want to bring him and his psyche, or what I assume to be his psyche, to the young people of today. So Jose Palma was born in Tondo on June 3, 1878. So last Saturday po would have been his 147th birthday. His father was Don Hermogenes Palma, and he was a clerk at the Intendencia, also known as the Aduana Building in Intramuros. Makikita nyo pa yun ngayon when you go to Intramuros. This meant that his father worked in a government agency. They were very likely middle class, upper middle class. Jose was the youngest of his siblings, so bunso siya. He had an older brother, Rafael Palma. Rafael became a well-known lawyer, and he was, if I'm not mistaken, the 4th president of the University of the Philippines. So Kuya was an academic, an intellectual. Ang hirap pantayan ni Kuya. Kuya was such a memorable part of the UP system that in all of the campuses, there would always be a Palma Hall. And that building would be named after Kuya Rafael. Kuya Rafael also became a senator. Ang hirap sundan ni Kuya. So back to Jose. Jose attended the Ateneo de Manila, where he began to show talent as a writer. Parang marami siguro siyang niligawan. Kasi nung panahon na yun, di ba life skill yun? Life skill yung magaling ka magsulat para makahanap ka ng girls. But I could only find a reference to one romantic interest, a girl named Florentina Arellano. And it seems that the girl's family did not like him. So walang pinuntahan. So our young poet Jose has experienced at this time, in his young life, love and loss over a girl. In 1894, Jose Palma joined the Katipunan when he was only 18 years old. His home district of Tondo was the birthplace of the Katipunan, after all. In 1896, when the revolution started, he would already have been 20 years old, but he did not see any action in the battlefield. I have read some material saying na he was not up to the physical challenge. So parang siya, writer. He was a lover, not a fighter. He was a lover, not a fighter. Ganon ang peg ni Kuya. He still wanted to help though, and he, for the rest of his life, he is always near those who are fighting, but he was never a fighter himself. So when the Philippine-American War broke out, Jose Palma served under Colonel Rosendo Simon and Colonel Serviliano Aquino, an ancestor of Ninoy Aquino and Noynoy Aquino in North Luzon, near Angeles, thereabouts. When he is unable to fight, he would entertain the troops with love songs and kundimans. Entertainment si Kuya. Yun ang kinalabasan. When he was not on a march, kapag hindi nagmo-move yung troops from one location to another, he would entertain himself by writing poetry. So, yung ganun ang peg niya, di ba? Parang kasama lang siya yung taga-entertain, siya yung creative, di ba? Ganun ang peg, habang yung mga iba talagang gusgusin sa laban, pero siya, pa rin, trying to lift the spirits of those around him. Jose also became a contributor to La Independencia, a revolutionary newspaper founded by Antonio Luna. And being a poet, his job, I think, is to lift the spirits of the troops. Kahit kumaga yun yung ginagawa niya nung nung entertainer siya ng batalyon, even as a writer, that is what he wanted to do, to stoke nationalism, to stoke the fire in the hearts of those who were in the front lines. And note that he was still very young. He was in his early 20s. In 1899, Jose Palma penned the Spanish poem Filipinas in Pangasinan. The poem was published in the first anniversary issue of La Independencia and was subsequently set to the tune of Marcha Nacional Filipina. Tragically, I think, and he died very early. He died of tuberculosis in 1903 when he was only 26 years old. So parang he never saw talaga his country free in the traditional sense. Kasi when he died, we were under the American rule. So ngayon, alam natin, we all know the Philippine National Anthem in Tagalog. And with the familiarity, I find myself doing this. Kahit with prayers. Kapag masyado tayong familiar sa kanta or sa prayers, we can say it through rote memory, but never really feel what it means. Ilang beses kayong kumanta ng national anthem habang nasa eskwela, kamay nyo nasa puso ninyo, pero iba ang iniisip ninyo. So I'd like to challenge that a little bit, and let us revisit the words of Jose Palma in Spanish. Hindi natin mababasa yon, kaya dala ko na rin yung English version. Kasi I want you all to look at it with fresh eyes. Jose Palma wrote this poem when he was 22 years old. 22. And honestly, it feels like a love letter. Diba? Love letter siya. I don't know kung paano manligaw ang mga kabataan ngayon, pero nung panahon namin, ganyan ang style ng mga nanliligaw. This feels like an old school love letter. Kung ang suitor mo ay medyo emo boy. Yan. Basahin natin ang mga titik. Land of the morning, child of the sun returning, with fervor burning, thee do our souls adore. Land dear and holy, cradle of noble heroes, near shall invaders trample thy sacred shores. Huwag niyo akong ikakalaboso, huwag niyo ako ipepreso, pero sa totoo lang, feel ko yan, in legal language parang parang, girl, you're so gorgeous, you're so hot, we adore you, and no one else can compare to you. Parang ganun ang sinasabi niya. Yung susunod na mga talata, ever within thy skies and through thy clouds and o'er thy hills and seas, do we behold the radiance, feel the throb of glorious liberty. Thy banner dear to all our hearts, its sun and stars alight. Oh, never shall its shining fields be dimmed by tyrants' might. In legal language, parang parang, girl, you are radiant. Parang, girl, you make my heart go dug-dug. You will always be safe. I got you. Yan yung sinasabi niya. And the very last stanza says, beautiful land of love, a land of light. In thine embrace, 'tis rapture to lie. But it is glory ever when thou art wronged, for us, thy sons, to suffer and die. In legal language, that is, girl, I will take a bullet for you. Yan yung sinasabi niya. Now, for the most part, when you read Filipinas like a love letter, kung yun ang assumption mo, kung asumera ka katulad ko at ina-assume mo na love letter siya, Kasi there are typical elements to it eh. Sa mga ka-era ko po na actually naligawan at nakakakuha ng mga love letter, ito kasi yung yung parang elements niya. Number one, it talks about how beautiful you are. Yung parang, Pilipinas, ang ganda-ganda mo, you're so cute. Ang haba-haba na ng hair mo, yung ganon. So there's a lot of praise for physical beauty. That's part of it. Number two, it talks about your other attributes. Parang, Filipinas, hindi ka lang maganda. You are the complete package. Ha? And number three, it talks about how you affect those around you. Parang, Filipinas, alam mo, dahil sa'yo, I feel stronger. I feel more courageous. And I feel like, and this is a cliche, you make me a better version of myself. Yan. Diba? Yan yung feel ko doon sa mga salita na ginawa niya. Parang classic ligaw talaga. Am I right? Perhaps siguro the only thing that many of us, or many of you in this generation, might find unfamiliar is the last line, and I will quote it in Tagalog this time, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo. If somebody says that to you today, parang, chill ka lang, friend, ang OA mo. Di ba? Masyadong heavy eh. Na paano natin mako-connect yun dito sa generation natin ngayon? Kasi the concept may be foreign to many of us, but for the young Jose Palma, a 20-something poet who has experienced young love and loss, who was never a combatant when his friends were dying on the front lines. This was an honor that he yearned for. Perhaps for him, his love for our country, Filipinas, talagang burned brighter, deeper, wildly, because he romanticized a soldier's death. Connect ba kayo doon? Parang mahirap imaginein, di ba? Pero kung manonood ka ng pelikula, parang, oo, mai-imagine mo yun. Pero medyo malayo sa bituka ko. Hindi ko mafe-feel yun ngayon. For the youth of today, it may not be as easy to find the beauty and the attributes of our motherland. In fact, more than once in online conversations, I have heard, Pilipinas, ang hirap mong mahalin. Diba? Sakit sa puso. It is also difficult to be thrust passionately in defense of your country when lines are blurred by either politics or personal interest. And it is time of relative peace, di ba? Parang hindi masyadong relevant yan sa akin. A lot of people may think. So that said, dying for the country is no longer the only ultimate show of our patriotism. The ultimate show of patriotism can also be living for our country. Pero living lang ba? Pero uulitin ko, ang mamatay para sa bayan ay hindi nag-iisang patunay sa iyong kagitingan. Dapat mabuhay ka rin para sa bayan. And yun nga, paano ka mabubuhay? Mabuhay ka bilang isang mabuting mamamayan? Mabuhay ka ng tumutulong sa kapwa? Mabuhay ka ng sumusunod sa batas? At mabuhay ka ng bumoboto para sa karapat-dapat maglingkod? Mabuhay ka ng hindi mo sinasayang ang pinaghirapan ng mga ninuno natin. So I genuinely hope that all of you are here today thinking about these things, these ideas. And please take the Philippine National Anthem, however you understand it more deeply, whether in Tagalog or in English, and baka Spanish, pwede rin. You take it as a source of inspiration so that you can actively contribute to the betterment of our nation. We contribute in different ways, walang pare-pareho, iba-iba ang peg natin. Hanapin ninyo yung para sa inyo. Hanapin ninyo para mahanap at mapalawig ninyo ang ambag ninyo para sa ating bayan. In becoming a contributor, you are taking your place in the next generation of patriots. Mabuhay po ang mga kabataang magiting. O, di ba?